Ladies and gentlemen, welcome, welcome. The long overdue dynamic duo is back. For the old folks, we have Riggs and Murtaugh. And for the new folks, we have Deadpool and Wolverine. Robik, how are you, brother? It's been too long.
Yeah, it's good to be back.
How was that? So before we get into the nitty gritty, how was Europe, man?
It was good. I mean, I was there only for 5 days, but I always enjoy traveling to Europe, so it was a lot of fun. It was mainly for Jessica to go and see Taylor Swift. So that was.
I didn't get that. You guys drove all the way over there, flew all the way over there to see Taylor Swift?
She went over there to see Taylor Swift, and Marina and I tagged along. Marina went to the concert with her in Germany, and so we were there in Hamburg for 2 days, and then went to Madrid for 3 days. That was, more for us than her.
So you're not a Swiftie? Did you not want to sit and watch?
No, definitely no. I mean, I respect her as an artist. It's just not my thing.
It was funny because Marina's posting pictures from the concert at the same time you're asking for questions, supplement questions, and just stuff. Because I'm like, he's not there. He's looking to kill his time.
Oh yeah, I was just chilling in a hotel room. Went to the bar, had some burgers. I was enjoying myself. No, and the funny thing is, there are a lot of people who travel to Hamburg and I guess all over Europe to watch Taylor Swift. So my hotel was dead. I mean,
really? Okay.
Everything was dead. Everybody was at the concert. It was a huge thing.
So I'm assuming, did you cost analysis the tickets or no? Do I even ask? I don't know if they're more money.
No. I think that they were actually, priced fairly moderate because I think Jess got them, if I'm not mistaken, about 7 or 8 months ago.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, she had them for quite some time in 2023. I think she bought them as soon as it was announced, and she was looking at different dates when she can travel because of school.
Yeah.
So Hamburg was pretty much one of the few options. I think there was Munich as well, but Hamburg was like, the prices were okay. I mean, by today's standards, it wasn't that bad.
Yeah, because I not to get too far. I hear horror stories. We have a good friend, and she takes her daughter and her friends. She spend like $400 per ticket. I'm like, you're just crazy.
And to be honest with you, I think that is still relatively cheap. I mean, I heard about crazy prices. We're talking into like $700-800 or even $1,000.
So anyway, I'm glad you had fun. I'm glad you're back.
Thank you.
So let's talk the topic at hand. We are on the eve of one of the biggest relaunches in the supplement industry that people are waiting for. For people that don't know Anarchy Labs, let's start from the beginning, Robik, if you don't mind. It dropped 16, 17 as a brand?
It was around 16, I think. Yeah, Apollon Nutrition started in 15. I think about a year later. So I'm guessing 16.
And I know it was edgy because I know you had some great market ingredients in there.
Yeah, it had DMAA. It was like fully loaded. And I think we were the first one to do 80 milligram of DMAA in Assassin.
That's right. I remember that. And people once again think you were crazy for the DMAA and of course your caffeine content.
Yeah, it was 500 or 600 milligram of caffeine, about 80 milligram of DMAA. It was like fully stacked. I remember the criticism was pretty severe, but again, it had a lot of fans and it had a lot of following, and people loved that brand.
And how many products did you have back then in that line?
So we had Assassin, we had Shogun, and we had Warrior, which we later changed to Hard Target. That was the switch because that was also like, sort of testosterone booster, estrogen suppressant. So yeah, it was the same product, but we changed it to Hard Target.
So what made you integrate, I guess, do away with the brand and maybe integrate some of it into Apollon? And then we'll talk about why we're rebranching here in a minute.
You know what? It's a good question. I think that at that point, both of them sort of kind of were looked upon, I mean, still even today, as hardcore brands. And as we were getting a little bit bigger and the company was growing, we just figured out, like, why not put them together? It would make more sense. And also keep in mind that we had a lot less SKUs. I mean, I don't know, we had like 10 at the time, maybe. So for us to just add 3 more SKUs, and, our team is small, it was easier to manage to have just one brand. And, when we switched from Anarchy to Apollon, nobody even blinked. So it kind of was like just a natural transition. And I think it also saved us a little bit in terms of marketing and stuff like that. So, marketing one brand is easier than marketing 2 brands. I mean, right now between Apollon Nutrition, Anarchy Labs, and Body by K, we're definitely spreading ourselves a little thin. It's not easy, but, we're managing, I guess, it comes with experience. We're not talking about 2016. We're into 24. So it's a little bit easy.
Did people know Anarchy was under the Apollon umbrella, or did you kind of keep that hidden?
No. We pretty much, we were proud of it, so to speak. I mean, the the whole concept of Apollon Nutrition was to be a hardcore brand. I mean, that's
Hmm.
how we started. The whole point was, we're going to do something that nobody else has been doing. And we've done something, we just kind of raised the bar when it comes to, I think at that point, you had, what was it, Jack 3D. And I think
Yep.
you had 1MR from, what's the company? Right.
But
Doesn't
More, another
BPI.
big one.
Yeah, BPI. So they had 1MR and then, of course, Jack 3D. Those were the hardest hitting pre workouts at the time. So we kind of raised the bar with that, with doing it through Anarchy Labs and Apollon Nutrition. And we wanted to cater to that hardcore, old school community, that just wants something that kicks ass. On a more mainstream level, there was only, I think, Jekyll and Hyde from ProSups.
Yep.
They had 419 milligram of caffeine, I think. So we just raised the bar and went to 450. I think first Hooligan had 450 milligram of caffeine. And we just kind of catered to our market. I mean, people that are not very familiar with Apollon Gym, because obviously it's not a chain. It's just
Yep.
one hardcore gym in Edison, New Jersey. So people that were familiar with the gym were not surprised that we are releasing those kind of products. So it was, and keep in mind, we were not really thinking about global explosion where we are going everywhere,
Sure.
market. We thought we were going to sell locally, so we didn't really think, outside the box. We were just thinking, okay, our crowd will buy it. We were buying at the time 144, 250 units, and we thought that that's going to last us like a year, if not more, because who's going to buy it other than members of Apollon Gym?
Yep.
So the whole concept was around, hardcore. So making Anarchy Labs and Apollon Nutrition kind of merge into one made sense at the time.
And now we fast forward 6, 7 years later, and now we're launching it again. What made you decide to do that?
That's the that's the question I get more often now, and why bring it back? I think in a way, Apollon Nutrition it definitely exceeded expectations, even our expectations. I'll be honest, in terms of growth and expansion, and we grew substantially. But I think with especially addition of Apollon Healthline, we kind of became, I'm not going to say mainstream, but more of a premium brand that making hardcore supplements, I thought it would be not necessarily confusing, but I want to branch out of it and I want to cater to, different people, different customers, different crowd. So Apollon Nutrition obviously went far and beyond what was expected, and launching right now products like Assassin, products like Shogun and stuff like that, and constantly raising the bar was a little bit sort of misleading. I mean, you have Toyota and you have Lexus. They different, but they manufactured by Toyota, both of them.
Yep.
So I think Volkswagen and Porsche, if I'm not mistaken, that's also the same company.
I think you're right. Yeah.
So it made sense to kind of like separate them and cater to different markets. And now actually it's easier to market, gearing towards that particular market. So if it's a hardcore, and obviously there is still demand for it, and obviously people still remember Anarchy Labs. So rather than expanding Apollon Nutrition and creating confusion and having so many SKUs, we decided that Apollon Nutrition is going to be a premium brand with that is a little bit, as much as I hate that word, mainstream. It's a little bit more mainstream and a little bit toned down. And obviously having the health line, which is expanding, and then having something that is closer to Apollon Gym itself, which is Anarchy Labs, which is exactly what Apollon Gym represents. People come there and they train. We don't care what they wear. This is the exact opposite of Planet Fitness. It's a complete anarchy. As long as you put your weights back and and you respect everybody, do whatever the fuck you want, train however you want. That's the whole point about Apollon Gym. So anarchy makes sense to be connected to our roots.
Had you been thinking about it, or was it kind of people chirping? I see, the texts and IG and stuff. Did that kind of reinforce it, or have you been were you thinking about it prior to seeing all this attention and stuff?
Well, if you, I don't know if you remember, we've been friends for a couple of years now, but I've been talking about Anarchy Labs for the past, 2 years at least?
Yeah,
Maybe even 3. So it was on the back of my mind. And then when we released Assassin last year, I mean, Assassin is easily top 3 products we had at Apollon Nutrition. And it just felt like it doesn't quite belong, if you know what I mean.
Yep.
It felt like a little bit like an outsider, like an invader, like a Putin invaded Ukraine. It just felt different. And the whole marketing behind it and everything, I think, was a little bit confusing. And don't forget, we have different customers, different retailers. Some of them don't want to carry Anarchy, and some of them want to carry just specifically, products like Assassin. So separating that made sense to us. And I think I'm glad we did, because right now the lineup of Anarchy, Shane's been posting on a daily basis now, revealing the products. They don't look like Apollon Nutrition. I mean, they do, but at the same time, you can see the difference between the 2 brands for sure, in terms of ingredients, in terms of dosages and stuff like that.
Yeah. So, while we're talking about that, I have the page up here. I'm going to bring up some of the products there so people can compare and contrast here. So let me just bring this over here. Bear with me. Okay. All right. So this is Ronin. Okay. And so I guess first off, people have been questioning, where are you coming up with these names?
I don't know. I'm just creative. That's something that I enjoy very much. I'm not very creative in the kitchen, but I'm pretty good with names, with movies and stuff like that. So this comes easy for me. This is really easy. I enjoy it. Nothing gives me more pleasure than thinking about the name of the product. So this is me just being me.
So we look at it. So this is the pre-workout. Again, very, very, very stim heavy, very energy heavy. Just a couple of things. We got beta alanine, betaine anhydrous. We got area gerensis, which I know is not. I don't even think there's any area in any of the Apollon brand. So I know that's setting this
aside. It was in
from
Assassin and it was in Overtime, which are both now here.
So with this here, I mean, this is going to be strictly like energy and maybe some focus, no pump whatsoever.
So you see, this concept, actually, believe it or not, I kind of gotten from Glaxon at one point. I think they had a pre-workout that was either didn't have any pump ingredients or was very, very light on pump.
Specimen, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, one of them had, maybe it had vasodrive at 254, maybe, but that doesn't matter. So I thought, people like, and especially Shane likes to talk about stacking 2 products. And people love to stack regardless. There's always something that's missing. Some people just want pump, and that's the reason of the, for the popularity of Bloodsport and Bloody Hell with Apollon Nutrition. And some people just want that craziness, that raw power, that insane focus and euphoria and long-lasting energy, just a strong pre-workout. And this is exactly it. I mean, this will provide that. And then if you want to use something for pump, we offer Senshi, which is essentially the Bloodsport,
yep.
Not equivalent, but a version of Bloodsport, but, in Anarchy Labs. It's not as packed as Bloodsport, but 10 grams of citrulline and 600 milligrams of Self-Flow 6 will definitely provide you with all the necessary pump. And it's about $20, 15 or $20 cheaper than Bloodsport, but it's stackable. And I think we're going to be able to offer a bundle where you can buy both Ronin and Senshi and save another 15 or 20%. So, you have options, whether you want something that's going to make you pretty crazy and strong and long-lasting energy, or you want pump, or you want both, and then you're going to be able to stack. We even decided that the flavors are going to be identical in both products.
And again, in pure Apollon fashion, I know Self-Flow 6 is becoming more popular, but it's almost like known that if you see an Apollon product or now an Anarchy product, Self-Flow is going to be somewhere in the line, whether it's a specific product or somewhere.
Well, I take tremendous pride in the fact that we were the first one to introduce Self-Flow 6 to the US market. And we have it in about 4 or 5 products. There's another Apollon Nutrition product that is coming out in about 3 or 4 weeks. And that one's going to have Self-Flow 6 too. I mean, the benefits of Self-Flow 6 pretty much proven, and it's a proven ingredient. And if anyone knows our company, they know we don't use ingredients that are questionable.
Yep.
That's none of that. If you're getting Apollon Nutrition or Anarchy Labs, whether you like one or the other or both, you know that you're going to get fully dosed product, sometimes overdosed product, and you know that the ingredients will work. There's not going to be anything shady or suspicious or anecdotal or anything like that. There's not going to be S7 or any of those ingredients in our products. So as a result, you have a very potent pump product that is, competitively priced, and you can stack it with Ronin.
Yep. Then we have Katana here too, which is, in my opinion, looks a little bit like a little bit of a thermo, but a high-end pre kind of thermo, almost cross pollinating.
So this idea I actually gotten of Shogun and Review Brothers. At one point when they reviewed Shogun, they said that Shogun can be taken as a pre-workout, because it's a thermogenic, but at the same time, with all the stems and the dosages, it can definitely fuel your workout. So I thought, what do you need in the morning if you do fasted cardio? I mean, this is maybe not ideal product for somebody who's doing high endurance because, of the amount of stems and caffeine. Maybe that's not ideal for them. But for
Yep.
somebody who's just wants to wake up in the morning and to do fasted cardio on a treadmill, just like, walking for 40 minutes or an hour or so, this will definitely will wake you up. Because, I mean, with caffeine citrate, it will be in your system instantly. You will wake up, you will have a very good thermogenic experience where you're going to definitely sweat quite a bit. So it's a little bit of both. And, like Shane said in his article, this can easily be used as a pre-workout for lifting weights as well. It's a thermogenic pre-workout. That's what it is.
Yep. The one thing I always have to call out, because I've done this, is in Apollon fashion, it's half a scoop and 1 scoop, not 1 and 2, because I've been that bonehead that is 2 scoops some of your products. But anyway.
Yeah. I mean, we doing it our way, and we've done it from day one. And a full serving is a full serving. And if somebody, there's a lot of people that don't require, like you and me. We're not a high stem people. I don't criticize anyone who does high stems. I mean, that's the market that we have, and we've been, I'm going to say it, pretty much dominating the market for 10 years now when it comes to high stem products, quality high stem products.
Yep.
But at the same time, I am a Desperado guy. I'm a Lionheart guy. Those are my pre-workouts. If I'm going to use something like, Fuck Mediocre or Hooligan or Assassin, I'm probably going to go for half a scoop. Maybe occasionally I'll do 3/4, maybe even 1 scoop. But I think that this kind of gives people options. And, I always listen to criticism, and some people said, like, well, if I take half a scoop, it's not going to be efficacious dosages of some ingredients. So that's the reason why, if you use half a scoop of Hooligan and half a scoop of Bare Knuckle, you're pretty much going to get the efficacious dosages. So I'm trying to listen and pay attention to it so you can get what you want with lower stems.
Yep. And then just announced a minute ago on Stacked, Hard Target coming over to the Anarchy line.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much the same formula that we always had. I mean, not always. This is a new formula, actually. We released early 2024, I believe in January. And, it's been around only for a couple of months, and we've been out of stock because of the move to Anarchy Labs for about 6 to 8 weeks now. So there was no point of changing the formula that everybody loves, and it's a popular product. We just kept the formula the same. And will we change it? Probably in about a year or two. But as of right now, it's the same formula, just a new look and a new home.
So I haven't done my research enough, but I'm not going to say this right. The Shilajit seems to be very, very popular. I see a lot of either standalones or a lot of people using it now.
Yeah, it's one of those ingredients right now that is used more and more often, even as a standalone. I mean, you can see it maybe not as much as you see something like KSM, which is popping out pretty much in everything. I mean, I've seen it now in amino products. I've seen it in fat burners products. I mean, I've seen it places that makes no sense to me. But yeah, Shilajit is definitely very popular. And the funny thing about Shilajit, actually, it's gained popularity in the United States the last, I would say, 2 to 3 years.
Okay.
But when I traveled to Russia maybe 7, 8 years ago, it was already one of the more popular ingredients. I mean, products. It was sold everywhere. So I don't know if it just caught up here, but yeah, it's definitely very, very popular now.
So Robik, I got to ask, because you've got a lot of young users or young customers. How do the products taste? Do we warn them that some of these are going to be a little harsh and not like fruit punch kind of sip and
Well,
juice?
I think that, Anarchy Labs back in the day, it was horrible. I mean, it was barely tolerable. This is, I won't say that it tastes as good as Apollon nutrition products. I mean, obviously, considering the amount of stems and stuff, but it's, in my opinion, and we let it try, quite a few people around the gym. Also, flavoring in the last couple of years, ever since the original Anarchy Labs, flavoring has improved. So,
Okay.
in my opinion, it's definitely much better than it used to be. But to say, if you pay attention to my social media, when I say something tastes delicious, I'm not making this up.
Yeah.
I'm saying it based on the feedback that we get from people, and you know how we do it. We let it taste. We do test the samples with members of the gym, and we do it extensively. So unless it tastes delicious, I'm not going to put it tastes delicious. That's the reason why I'm not going to do it with Anarchy Labs. I will say it tastes decent to good, but
Okay.
I'm not going to say it tastes phenomenal. But it's definitely acceptable. I mean, it's definitely much, much better, huge improvement from last time.
I'm assuming Chris, your desk manager, was probably one of the test subjects for these. I know he's a
Chris
big
was the
fan.
first one. Chris was the first one to try Ronin. Actually, I had to make adjustments because it is strong, but it was even stronger, believe it or not. It was almost the level of Mad World, which, by the way, spoiler, Mad World is coming back in September,
Excellent.
again under Anarchy Labs, and it's going to be fully revealed this time because the proprietary blend obviously was just a joke for April's Fools, and that one is most likely the strongest pre-workout we've ever done. So
Okay.
Ronin was, I remember when I did Ronin was almost as strong as Mad World. And I let Chris try it and another guy who was a friend of mine, Sharif. So Sharif couldn't handle Ronin. I mean, he had quite a reaction. He was all over the place. Chris had absolutely no problem. He loved it. So I made slight adjustments to tone it down a little bit because it was crazier than it is now. And again, it's not for everyone. I keep saying it again and again. Anarchy Labs is definitely, you're a friend of mine, and I'm not in a business of, I mean, I am in a business of selling, but I would not push something that I know that is not for you.
Yep.
So I know that Anarchy Labs, not all the products, but some of the products are definitely not for you because I know that you're mostly a moderate thin person, just like Eric Schwartz is. And there's nothing wrong with it. There's a market for everyone.
So now, when you're obviously trying these yourself, are you just cutting yourself off like half a scoop, or I should say half?
No. When I tried first, I tried the flavor. When we approve the flavor, I will try the full serving. I always go for the full serving. Well, you kind of have to. I mean, that's the only way. You have to try and see how it works. So yeah, I mean, for example, Ronin was very, very strong for me. I mean, obviously I was fine, but it was very strong, and I felt the effects for a couple of hours, maybe 4 or 5 hours. The energy, the focus, the euphoria, everything was there. It was very, very powerful. Sanshi was great pump. I really enjoyed the vascularity, and especially when I tried it, I was actually much leaner than I am right now. I was in pretty good shape, and naturally, when I'm in shape, I'm very vascular. So that one made all the veins like really, really pop. I even took a few pictures and I posted it on social media. I was like, I just couldn't say what it was, but yeah, that stuff works. And Shogun, again, very powerful in terms of stems and in terms of energy, but the thermogenic effect, being fully transparent, I'll say it's not as thermogenic as Chaos or Molotov, but I would say it's probably about 75% of that.
Okay.
But when it comes to energy and focus, obviously it's a lot stronger.
So now, how big do you want to build this brand, or do you want to keep it small and intimate, like half a dozen SKUs?
It's not going to be big. It's definitely not going to be big. I mean, right now we have 6 products. We're going to have one limited edition, which is Mad World. So that doesn't count. And then we're going to have another product. I can disclose, not the name, but I can disclose information. That's going to be the answer for Desperado with Apollon Nutrition, where it's going to be cost effective.
Okay.
But still, it's kind of going to be a milder version, just like Desperado is a milder version of Hooligan. That's going to be a milder version of Assassin. So that one we're going to target probably early November release. So that makes it a 7 products. And I don't know. Well, Assassin's going to come back in 2025, and that's going to be under Anarchy Labs too. But honestly, we're not planning as of right now to release any proteins or anything like that.
Yep.
Amino, I don't think that we need, because I mean, what is it going to be competing with Enigma? Can't touch Enigma anyway, so why
Yeah.
do it? So more than likely, I would say maybe 10. That's pretty much, like you said, it's going to be a small, kind of intimate, personal project.
And you don't, I mean, let's be honest, Robik, you don't want to cannibalize the main Apollon line. You don't want to compete with
No,
yourself.
no. This is going to be, we'll see how it goes. Obviously the market has changed from 8, 9 years ago. So we'll see how this one goes. I mean, I think that Hard Target over time definitely already established products. Assassin is established product, and Shogun is an established product. The rest, I don't know how it's going to go, but I think 4, 5 products are going to be well established, and there's going to be always demand for them. They already, established themselves as very much in demand. So I don't think that, we're not. Apollon Nutrition is still going to be our main focus. That's our main brand.
So I think in a text you said some products maybe dropping tomorrow and some on Friday, or remember that correctly?
I mean, the website should be live by midnight. It should be, but
Okay.
like I said, with testing it and technical stuff and stuff, things that can go out of our control. As of right now, we're targeting for tomorrow, for
Okay.
Thursday, but hopefully between Thursday and Friday, it's going to be live, and obviously we'll announce it immediately that everything is working, everything is fine.
Yeah, and I know, like I've said in the past, you guys are just on fire. You can put Apollon on a candle, and you guys have to sell out like immediately.
I think the reputation is, yesterday Shane and I were texting for a while. We have a small team. You've been to Apollon numerous times. It's a small team, but we are absolutely relentless. Not that we are competitive, because competitive would be to be competitive maybe with other brands. I personally, and my team, and again, us, so I'm not bullshitting you. We care about us. We care about our brand, and we
Yep.
try to constantly compete with ourselves and kind of raise the bar as much as we can, because we enjoy the process. I mean, we're very, very competitive with ourselves, and that's the main thing. Yesterday, Jake from NutriCartel, he asked me a question, and he goes, "I don't know how you do it." And I was like, "Neither do I."
How do you figure? I don't know if I asked this, Robik. How do you figure out what you want to launch next? Because I know you typically don't follow the trends. But how do you sit down and say, you know what? I mean, how do you figure out what you're going to launch next? The product, the category, whatever it is.
Good question. Prior maybe to last year or 2 years ago, I was a complete mess,
Yep.
meaning that I would release products as I feel. I would not consult anyone. I would not talk to anyone. I would just like notify Carolina. I would notify Marina. I was like, okay, we're releasing this. And it was more of a asshole approach, more like a dictator approach. I'm just admitting it. Like, I don't have a problem admitting. I wasn't very good team player, to a point where I had to apologize to my team for certain things that I was doing. I was not doing it maliciously. I was not doing it because I think I'm better than them or, more important than them. That was not the case. It was just me of being so anxious to do things, and so competitive, and always trying to outdo myself, that I would release just products like an idiot, left and right. I'm releasing this, not releasing that. Right now it's different. Right now we'll get together once a week. We have meetings, myself, Marina, Kay, and Maria. We will have a meeting once a week. We try to be pretty religious about that. But I also will, I'll consult with you sometimes. I'll talk to Shane sometimes. I'll pick your brains. And I mean, because you see the overall picture. So now I'm better at listening. Carolina has a weekly meetings with the sales, with Jose, and with our marketing guy, with Dan. So it's a little bit, it's a lot more organized now, where I listen to them. And, there was a couple of questions about releases for the end of the year. And we actually had a meeting, I believe, on Saturday, where they disagreed with me on certain things, and we came to an agreement. So right now it's a little bit more organized as we discuss these things, or at least if I have an idea, I will run it by them and to get their approval. And it's a little bit more organized and a better teamwork now.
So did someone call you out on your, you use the word dictator, whether trying to wrong, did somebody call you out, or did you just wake up one day and be like, wait a minute, maybe I'm a dick? I say that
Oh
lovingly, brother.
no, both. I mean,
Okay.
they obviously not scared of me or anything like that, but they will call me out. And one day, just like you said, I woke up and I said, okay, I'm an asshole, and they had a few meetings or talks, so to speak, behind my back, where they were obviously not happy. And because at some point the releases were just coming left and right, but they made no sense. There was um, no sequence of how it should be
Yeah.
done. There was no order. There was no strategy. And strategically, I was very bad. I was so anxious to do something that I was like, okay, I'll do it at any cost. But you got to be. It's the same thing as training. We're getting older. I'm we talk about age quite a bit. We joke about it, but the reality is, right now, I'm training pretty consistent, and even boxing or martial arts or stuff like that, and I feel it. I feel it. My reaction is not as sharp.
Yep.
My speed is not as good, and I'm just not. So that means I have to adjust to a certain way where I actually listen to my body. So the same thing with business and with running Apollon Nutrition, Anarchy, Body by K. I have to listen to the team. I have to be a little bit more strategic and use my brain rather than my heart or my muscles. It's you have to
Yeah.
use some logic. You have to use some common sense.
You gotta look at it too. Back in the day, I mean, it was just you and Kay. You had a small support staff. Plus, it's your baby, though. I mean, you want to kind of release it, but in the same boat, it's hard to give up your baby.
It's very hard, and the passion is still there. I mean, it's pretty much the same as it used to be. Nothing changed in terms of who I am. Nothing had changed about somebody asked me today on Instagram, what is Apollon's mission? What are we trying to do? And I said, I never had really a mission. What I had was to release products that I can be proud of, that I don't have to say, oh, look, I have S7 or theanine in my pre-workout because it's going to provide you with energy and pump. None of things. Right now, it's mostly about the fact that I want to be proud of what we do. I want to be proud. I don't want to be called out and say, oh, look, he's underdosing here or he's cutting corners there. I don't want to do that. I want to make sure that, that's our mission, to make sure that each and every product we're actually proud of.
Yep. Robik, somebody just kind of chimed in here, Justin, saying, I thought I heard talk of Apollon getting into the vitamin shop. Is this happening? Robik, you got me?
Yeah, there was a talk about it. We definitely discussed it. But there were a lot of talks, vitamin shop, GMC, distribution and whatnot. So yes, there was definitely a talk about it. But as of right now, it's just a talk. We have to make sure that we weigh all the pros and all the cons and do at the end what's best for us. So no final decision has been made.
Right.
But yeah, we've been talking about it since 2023, I believe. But like I said, with all the changes and everything that's going on, there is a talk, so that's true. In terms
Oh,
of
wow.
final decision, no.
Okay. And I have to admit, I mean, that would be great, obviously, because Vitamin Shop over the years, I've seen them, they've grown, like they're not safe anymore. They're not sticking just to the C4s and stuff. They're growing either the pre-workouts and whatnot. I mean, if anything, it's more brand recognition for you guys. But again, I don't know the financial recourse.
Yeah, like I said, we've gotten some paperwork. We have been talking to them. We're definitely in touch with them. There is definitely communication going on. But there are so many different aspects. I mean, we're selling pretty good. We popular direct to consumer, and our wholesale is, it could be better. It always can be better. It can always grow, but it's
Yep.
growing substantially every year. We never had a year where we were worse than a previous year. Each and every year, it's getting better and better. We're going to have some literally very, very much breaking news in coming weeks, I believe, that's going to surprise a lot of people in terms of, the expansion of Apollon Nutrition. I will tell you, but it's going to be off air. But
Okay.
that's very, very substantial, something that we've been working on for the past year, I believe, and it's finally coming to fruition. So there's going to be some very, very exciting news about Apollon extension. Well, it's exciting for us, but hopefully, our customers and friends will be happy for us as well.
Yeah, here we go. Sorry, after we're done, everyone's gonna be blowing up your phone now. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Can you tell me? Come on, we're friends. Can you tell me?
100%. I wish
So
you'd look
let's
at your phone. It's coming probably.
let's shift over to the main brand here, Apollon Nutrition, obviously. Always on target, dropping things. I feel like weekly. How are things moving that way? What's coming out here?
So, I mean, I can disclose it. I mean, I don't think that anyone's gonna punish me for that. But we have Furiosa coming out, Furiosa version 2.
Okay.
That's coming in the next few weeks. That's gonna have Sulfur 6. That's the product that I meant. We have a couple of new flavors of protein that are coming out. We're expanding into more versions of protein, which I'm not gonna say what that's gonna be. Joint formula is in the works as well. At least 2 or 3 health products that's going to be launched before the end of the year for sure. And obviously, the biggest news, I think that's going to be the biggest news of the year, is the fact that we're going to launch Hooligan in the next, I believe, 3 weeks. I believe
Wow.
3 or 4
Okay.
weeks, new Hooligans coming out, and that's going to shatter everything we've done previously when it comes to Hooligan. That's going to be not just like a small 5-10% change. That's going to be like a completely revamped thing. You're going to see that it's Hooligan, but it's going to be a different beast altogether. It's going to look
Yep.
like a limited release in comparison to all the other Hooligans we've ever had.
Oh wow. So you shared me a text, and I hope you don't mind me sharing that when the clear dropped, you said you were
Mhm.
surprised that it was kind of blowing out, sounding
I
like
was
crazy.
very
What surprised
surprised.
you? Oh,
I
why?
was very surprised because I didn't want to do it. I really didn't want to do it. So we have one customer that has kind of to do with the big news that wanted us to do clear protein for quite some time. And I mean, let's be honest, clear protein, a couple of brands have it, but it's not exactly dominating. I don't see
Yep.
anyone doing phenomenal with it. I mean, I don't know the numbers, but I don't see it being as big as it is in Europe, in UK. So finally, we thought, you know what? I mean, let's give it a try. Maybe we'll keep it for a month or so. Maybe specifically for this particular customer, we'll order like a small batch, and that's it. And we
Yep.
tried the flavors, or we tried 3 flavors, and all 3 flavors we absolutely loved. It was pretty good. So we said, you know what? We will order a little bit. We ordered a little bit, and the product is doing great. In fact, we launched it what 4, 5, 6 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, I believe, and we already reordered a much, much, much larger batch already because
Wow.
it's pretty good. And I think we just tested 2 more flavors, and I think they got approved as well. So that surprised me because again, with Apollon Nutrition, um, somebody posted today, I think it was Natural Body. They were doing little stories and they were talking about greens, how we have great greens product and
Yeah.
it's fully stacked. And they said, well, Apollo Nutrition is well known for hardcore or high stim pre workouts. But now look at this, they have this. And that's, I think, the main thing is that Apollon Nutrition is no longer hardcore. I mean, yeah, we still have a few badass products. Like Hooligan is still Hooligan. Don't get me wrong, and it's not moving anywhere. But at the same time, we have so many different things and so many different SKUs,
Yep.
and and wide variety of products that it's no longer a one trick pony. So that's the reason why Clear surprised me. But on the other hand, why am I surprised? Like you said, everything we do, I mean, not everything is maybe a super hit, but
Yep.
everything sells well. I mean, there is demand. Multivitamin. I never thought that we're going to have issue with multivitamin, but we can't keep it in stock. We're out of stock again, and it pisses me off. Multivitamin doesn't matter how many times we reorder in bigger, numbers. It's always out of stock. We're out of stock, like I said, right now.
I'll tell you with the clear though, not a lot of people. Well, for me, I mixed it with my pre-workout with the Desperado, just to have a little bit of kind of amino acids flowing in the
Mhm.
system, or I mix it with some branched chain. I'm sorry, carbs, some powdered carbs for a post-workout, because again, it absorbs very fast. It's light, it's clean, and just system reflooding, the protein.
It's a great product. The only thing is that like most clear proteins, it definitely foams, so I won't use a blender for it. But if you use a shaker cup, it settles probably within like 30 seconds. It's very,
Yeah.
very fast. Really not an issue. But blender, like I said, I wouldn't use blender for that, and I typically don't use blender for egg protein. But other than that, shaker bottle, not an issue, and the foam settles very quickly, and it's very light on your stomach. People love it. So yeah, it surprised me, but it's a good surprise.
I got to tell you a product that you guys never talk about that I actually love and live by is Gut Glory. I'm being completely honest. I mean, this thing is so versatile, whether it's for me, I take it either if I know I'm going to have a bad meal or if I have an upset stomach, kind of clears my upset stomach a little bit.
It's definitely, we don't talk about it much, and it's actually, I'll take it as a criticism, but it's good criticism. But it's a sleeper hit. It keeps.
Yes.
We are very, very close to be out of stock. Actually, just today I talked with a manufacturer, and they're going to restock us in the next 2 weeks, because they said we're very low. But that product is doing good. I mean, I'm not going to say that it's a super hit, but it's definitely, it has its followers. People are reordering it, and it's definitely something I use myself. That one I do use. I use that, and I use Glucovantage. That's like part of my thing on a daily basis.
Yeah, because generally, if I'm going to go like really deep in a bowl of ice cream, I will take like a lactase enzyme, but now I don't even take that anymore. I use this. And it's interesting because there's no, I mean, there's Digizeb, but there's no specific enzymes for protease or lipase or anything. But it's just, I love this thing, and I'm not putting you over. I'm just being honest.
No, it's true. It works. I mean, I even remember when we formulated it with Marina, it was very quickly. We did it like in the evening. We were talking about it, looked at a couple of things, and boom, the next day we submitted the formula to the manufacturer. It was very quick, and we had it in the next 4 weeks or so. So yeah, we should probably market it a little bit more, because it's definitely a very helpful product, and it's definitely very, very good. So I don't think we give it enough, like you said, enough credit and enough respect as we should.
Yep. So let's talk. We got to respect someone else, the dear Carolina. Let's talk quickly about her line. I know we've got the four main staples, but anything new on that side?
Yeah, so with Body by K, it's definitely a growing brand, and it's definitely something that Carolina kind of like puts a little bit more into it in terms of her time and ideas. And initially, the idea was to have 3 products, which we do, and then it was an idea to release 2 more products before the end of this year, and those 2 products will be released. So the product count is going to be 5 products, and she also wants to expand in terms of not just uh, supplements for women, geared for women, because God knows Black Tulip can be for everyone,
Yes.
but to expand a little bit more into also clothing and merchandise and stuff like that, to have an overall, not just a supplement brand, but more like a female oriented brand that caters a little bit of everything.
Yep.
So that's definitely a work in progress. I mean, the brand is still very young. It's only been around for 8, 9 months, but it's definitely growing. It's expanding. We sell right now not only around the country but also overseas, and it takes a lot of Carolina's time. Obviously, she lost her aunt a month ago or so,
Yeah.
2 months ago, and that slowed down the process a little bit. For us, especially, her being the founder, it requires a lot of her time and her presence. So that kind of slowed us down a little bit in terms of growing the brand and marketing aspect. But right now, everything is pretty much back to normal. The brand is doing well. The brand is in demand. I know she is right now gearing towards getting more ambassadors, and just expanding the team. So
Yep.
yeah, we're very happy with the brand, and it's a slow and steady growth, exactly what we expected. But again, the products have the Apollon signature moves, in terms of like the dosages and everything. So we know for a fact that it's not something that women's brands in particularly, not, I'm not going to say not as good, but I mean, you will have hard time finding something that compares to Body by K in terms of both ingredients and dosages.
Yeah, so I gotta say this for anybody listening or watching: if you love Molotov at the 4 capsule dosage, you'll love Black Tulip because it beat the sweat and the drench just as much. I mean, I don't know which one lit me up more, but I was not a happy camper after taking both of them. Not on the negative side, but multiple shirt changes.
They deliver 100%. And speaking of Molotov, the new version of Molotov, which we also out of stock, the new version of Molotov is targeted to be released in 2 weeks.
But didn't you just drop a second version already? Or is this
Last year.
version 3?
Last year.
So this is version 3.
This is a version 3.
God damn, I can't keep up with you.
Yeah, that's the version 3. So I'll send you a bottle. We'll test it on you.
Yeah, but I'm gonna be smart now. Make sure I take half the dosage.
I'll still, when I take Molotov, I only take half. I don't take the full dose.
You know, I laugh when people are like, "Oh, 4 does nothing for me," and I'm like, "There's something, not you, but there's something wrong with the person taking that. If 4 does nothing for them, there's something wrong."
Yeah, I have never seen. Well, I mean, obviously, you know, there are special cases, but from what I can see, I'll never forget the first time that Shane was visiting us when we released, I think, the first version, and he tried the 4 capsules, and he was sweating just nonstop. And then the funny thing is, because like I said, things can happen. It depends on many factors. And I remember he took it once, and he gets to Apollon, and he says to me, "I actually don't feel it." He says, "I don't feel it." He says, "I don't, nothing." I'm like, "Okay." And, you know, things happen. For some strange reason, maybe he ate something. Maybe he did something. I don't know what. I really don't know. But after his workout or something like that, basically it hit him probably not the typical 15, 20 minutes or 30 minutes. It hit him hard, like about an hour later. But it was like nonstop. He was just drenched in sweat. But I remember that where he said, "I don't feel it." And then it hit him pretty hard.
Is he cussing you out in the texts?
Yeah, we were just laughing at that. But, you know, I did 4 capsules. I feel like 2 capsules definitely my sweet spot. 2 to 3. 4 is a little extreme.
That's how you know you're getting older as well, is back when you're younger, you go straight for full dosage. You still young kids, "Oh, full dosage. I don't half dose." But now I realize with your stuff, like 90% of it, obviously Desperado, Lionheart, I don't have to. I can full dose. But everything else, I got to half dose with you.
Yeah, which is great because it gets you to save money. I mean, like Ryan, Fitness Informant, he said that fuck mediocre. In reality, I didn't even look at it from that perspective. It's a 20/40, you know, the half scoop, full scoop. And if you look at half scoop and you look at 40 servings, it's more loaded than your average pre-workout. It just, you know, you can easily get away with using half a scoop and having it for 40 servings.
Yep. So we talked earlier about ambassadors. Okay, now like what's the ideal person? Because obviously you're looking for people, hopefully, to represent the Anarchy brand. Like, what's the ideal person for you, Robik?
See, the thing is that with that, and I know you asked me that question off air a couple of times, and I didn't elude the question, but I had no answer for you. And guess what? I still don't have an answer for you.
Okay.
The reason is because when we talked about Anarchy Labs, like Anarchy Labs and Body by K, I would call them, when it comes to our 3 brands, I would call them a specialty brand, right?
Sure.
So Body by K, who can it be represented by? It can be represented by K, Carolina. I mean, that's Body by K. So she's the main focus of the brand. And if it has ambassadors and sponsored athletes and whatnot, more than likely you expect that it's going to be women. I mean, that's what makes sense. It's a women-oriented brand. So it's led by Carolina, but it's going to be also endorsed and ambassadors that you can expect. Different ages, you know, obviously not necessarily athletes, but the key is women. That's how it's going to be promoted. That's the market. Anarchy Lab, Apollon Nutrition, that's everyone. That's mainstream. That's pretty much everyone. Any age, you know, and any gender, that's Apollon Nutrition. It's a brand that it's like, I use the word mainstream because I don't know what else to call it, but let's say premium mainstream. Let's call it that.
Yeah.
And then you have Anarchy Labs. Anarchy Labs is hardcore brand. The word anarchy, it's somebody who should be represented by, it should be represented by a person, people. I know that most brands, including ours, they take anyone basically, you know, to represent the brand. If it's like Apollon, but Anarchy Labs, You want to look at somebody who is anarchy, somebody who doesn't give a fuck, somebody like Conor McGregor. I'm not saying we're getting Conor McGregor, we can't afford him, but somebody who has no filter, somebody who's going to speak his mind, somebody who's going to be a little bit more out there in terms of, I don't give a fuck, I speak my mind, I do what I want, and that's a perfect representative for anarchy. It's very hard
to Robik? Are people sending you at least interest in anarchy?
All the time, the time. But when I'm trying to be nice and explain to them, like, I need something. I need to see something from you, not necessarily your physique. That's not that. Anarchy is me. I am anarchy. I mean, that's pretty much the brand represents who I am. Not that I would say that I don't give a fuck, but I'm very straightforward. That I speak my mind. Sometimes people love me for that. Some people don't like me and even hate me, which is fine. But I am who I am, and I don't make excuses for that. So if Body by K is Carolina and she's a female and it's a women's brand, then obviously we need more women. If anarchy is reflecting of Apollon Jam and me and my personality, then we need people like me. People who will speak their mind, people who will, use those products. I mean, I'm not so much a user of Anarchy Labs, all the products, and if I use, I'll probably have a scoop. But I love Overtime. I mean, Hard Target, I like Hard Target. And, but I need somebody who is who has a personality, say, of like Lee Priest or Rich Piano, those guys, Those are the people that I think represent the brand of Anarchy Labs. And rather than, just saying yes to everybody and getting as many ambassadors as I can so they can use their code and, and they can sell and we can make money, I got to stick to my principles. I need to make sure that they represent me and they represent Anarchy Labs and they fit the brand and they fit the criteria. And if that means that we're not going to get anyone yet or in the near future, so be it. But until we get somebody who represents anarchy for what it is and understands the concept, then no.
What about the young lady that was the ninja that had like half her head shaved? She was really sweet. I met her at the seminar last year. Fatima, edgy and hardcore.
Fatima definitely fits. Fatima 100% fits. And, she actually was in the video for Assassin, and that made huge noise. She 100% fits. I just haven't seen her in a while. But yeah, she's a good friend of mine, and she 100% fits the brand. She's a badass.
So what else? I know we've gone through a lot around the loop here. What else have we forgotten about?
I don't know. You're the interviewer. Interview me.
Have you seen Wolverine and Deadpool? Do you care about those franchises?
I am so embarrassed. I still haven't seen it because when it came out, I was actually in Germany. I wanted to see it in Germany. I was like, let me find out where the movie theater is. But unfortunately, in Germany, the movies are dubbed. So it was in German. I couldn't go see it. And then the same thing happened in Spain. And then I'm back for the past 2 weekends and it didn't work out. So hopefully I'll be able to see it this weekend. Did you see it?
Oh, yeah. I'm a big fan. I mean, I'm not a comic book nerd. I take the movies for face value. But hopefully you haven't seen me, a ton of spoilers. They call them Easter eggs that just blew my mind with some of this.
I heard it's phenomenal. Everybody who I've talked to that's seen the movie loves it. There is a couple of movies I want to see. Twisters. I want to see a bunch of movies that I've missed. Cuckoo, I think, is a great movie. At least the buzz is very, very strong around it. So there's a couple of movies that I want to see. I was able to catch like 2 or 3 movies, but like I said, nothing really. What was that? Long Legs. That was the last movie that I saw. That's actually pretty popular right now with Nicolas Cage.
Oh, okay. Speaking of Nicolas Cage, if you have Peacock, have you seen his movie where he plays himself in the movie?
I mean, I know about the movie, but I still haven't seen it. I heard it's brilliant.
It's pretty good. He pokes fun at himself, so you take it for face value, but it's a good watch.
I heard it's kind of a modern version of being John Malkovich.
Yeah, possibly. I guess you could see that.
Yeah, that movie was so bizarre, but I really enjoyed it. I mean, I love those movies. I mean, that's everything that is different, that has kind of like a different perspective, different vision. I love those movies. Like, I can't wait to see Joker, the sequel.
Yes.
I like the first one a lot. And, you know, those are the type of movies that I always, even if I don't like them, I respect them because I know that people took a chance, they took a risk to do something that is a little bit outside the box.
So I heard, I got to send it to you. A good interview with Arnold. I'm sorry, with Sylvester Stallone and Dolph Lundgren, and then eventually Arnold jumped in. So Sly was saying back in the 80s and 90s, the movie could suck, but we would go to see the movie based on the actor. Oh, Arnold's new movie, Sly's new movie, Jean Claude. But nowadays it's the other way around. That the movie is making the actor. Nobody is drawn in by the actor, and the movie's secondary. Does that make sense?
It does make sense because, I mean, look right now, even at in the supplement industry, right? You just asked me a question about Anarchy Labs. How does it taste?
Yep.
You know, again, the way we grew up, I mean, we were chugging on a fucking protein shake that was unbearable. We're not talking about workouts. We're talking protein shakes that were unbearable to drink, but we still drank them. We still took them because we knew that there is a benefit of taking them. So to us, taste was irrelevant. And even today, I mean, again, I am older, but I don't think I'm old. But when I see people talking about pre-workout and the first thing they say, oh my God, it tastes delicious. Oh my God, it's terrible.
Yeah.
You know, before they look at the formula, they talk about the flavor. To me, that's still very, very bizarre. I don't understand. Like, I understand the protein shake or aminos should taste good because you sip it or hydration and you drink it for a while. So, yeah, but when it comes to pre-workout, I understand that. So the culture definitely has changed. You know, the perception also changed. And, you know, the same thing goes with movies. In the 80s, 90s, you had the guys with the biggest muscles, you know, being the superhero. That's what was acceptable. Today, yes, Wolverine is kind of jacked, but for most part, the action heroes today they look like regular Joes. Some of them look like they never seen gym in their life.
Yeah.
And that has changed. And even today, I got a lot of comments, a lot of DMs about my stories post where I posted something about sponsored athletes and ambassadors, where I'm being, I mean, literally, like I'm being contacted on a daily basis. Sponsor me, take me, sponsor me, take me. And it's like nonstop. And we're not even talking about the fact that, you know, they don't offer anything or say what they're going to do for the brand. They just make demands. I'm not even talking about that. It's the approach.
Yeah.
The approach. I remember we used to do the way we were brought up. You know, you always say something like, please, thank you, how are you? You don't address anyone without saying hello, hi, how are you? But today, I'm getting DMs from somebody who wants to be an Apollon Nutrition sponsored athlete or ambassador, and I'm getting yo. I'm like, really? I mean, that's what it comes down to, yo? Or, yo, my man, I would like to be, you know, I can represent your brand. Send me some stuff and I'll post it on social media. Like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. You know, I just don't understand that. So, yeah, I mean, as annoyed as I am by this, it's kind of like the world we live in, and I guess we have to adjust to it. You know, the same goes with, you know, keyboard warriors where you can get insulted. And to me, I don't give a shit if I'm getting insulted. I'm kind of used to it, so that's fine. But if your loved ones, like your daughter or your son, see it, I mean, that's not cool. That's just not cool, you know? So, but again, today it's acceptable, but we're talking about 20, 30 years ago, which is not that long ago if you think about it.
No.
You would never talk to anyone like that. Your parents would never allow you to talk to anyone like that. You would be severely punished and probably smacked.
Spoon or backhand.
Exactly. You can't. So yeah, I think, you know, when it comes to movies, like you said, it's not the actor anymore. It's the special effects. It's you know, it's the story, the concept. You know, some of it I can see as a good thing because, you know, how many bad movies have we seen with Arnold Schwarzenegger that I look at them today, I'm like, really? You know, we actually like this? Yeah, that makes no sense. But so I like when the story is, I'm not talking about the, you know, the comics and stuff like that, but we're talking about like when there is a good story, there's a good film, I really, really enjoy it. And regardless who is, you know, who plays the main character, it's completely irrelevant.
Yeah. Well, speaking about ambassadors a minute ago, I sent you, see, Nick Walker is no longer with HT. Gone and forgotten.
I heard about that, but you know, Nick is we talk. I consider him a good friend. we haven't talked about, any of that. I actually found out from you and from Shane about it. I didn't even know about it. But I think that's also an issue with today's ambassadors and sponsored athletes. I mean, nothing against Nick. I like him. He's a great guy. But I mean, the truth is, in the last 5 or 6 years, he's been with 4 or 5 companies. To me, as good as you are, I know, and a lot of people know that when that happens, athlete signs with a company. Again, this is not directed at Nick. This is just general.
Sure.
When I see athletes jump from brand to brand, and I don't know what happened between the two of them, but when it happens, you see a guy who represented 3 or 4 brands in the last 4 or 5 years. You're like, now he says this brand is the best brand on the market. A year ago, he was saying that brand is the best brand on the market. I talked to this influencer at the New York Pro recently. And he was with a company, and he was telling me that the contract is coming to an end, and he's talking to other companies, and he didn't really talk to me about. I like the guy, so I'm not gonna say who he is. I actually like him as a person. I just don't agree with that approach. As he didn't say which company is better. He told me that he's gonna sign whichever company offers him more.
Yeah.
Which, again, I do understand. We want to make as much money as possible. We all want to have the good life, but it's always good to have principles. Because you still judge based on your character, not the size of your car, not the size of your bank account or your house.
Yeah.
It's about your character, and I think to have some kind of a dignity, self-respect is very, very important. And when I see personally an athlete, even if he has shitload of followers and he's this champion or whatnot, and he's jumping from brand to brand, it's almost like, especially those bigger guys who are, have more of a following and they have more of a reach.
Yeah.
What I see is that it's almost like not the brand is interviewing them, they interviewing the brand.
Mm-hmm.
So to me personally, and again, I know that a lot of people would disagree with me, and I'm totally okay with it. I'm 100% okay with it. I do understand that most people care about fame and money. I do understand that. But what I don't agree with, I understand, but I don't agree with, is the fact that I look at Apollon, for example, as obviously a premium brand. And it's not because it's my brand, it's because it is premium and it's proven to be premium.
Yeah.
We make good supplements. And there is a company like NutriBio. I respect the shit out of NutriBio. I think it's an amazing brand. Mark is a friend of mine, and I have utmost respect for that brand. But when you, without naming names, compare Apollon Nutrition and NutriBio, and you put it in the same sentence as some of the shitty, crappy, under those proprietary blend, inferior ingredients companies, and you're putting us on the same spot, and you're not picking, okay, I'll pick that company because I like what they stand for, and I like the products, and it's not something that I'm ashamed to put my name next to it. No, but these guys will pay me more, so I'll go with them. Again, I understand you want to get paid more. Totally understand that. You want more. Yeah. But, take into consideration more than just the paycheck. The good company also might pay you, well, maybe not as much, but still. And it's also about your reputation. So I don't know, like in terms of Nick, I wish him, the best. Hopefully he's going to land with a great brand. I can always talk to him myself about it. But, speaking just about the facts without being a dick, Nick's been with, I believe, Condemned Labs. He's been with Raw, and he's been with Hostile, and now HD. That's like 4 companies in the matter of, 5 years, 6 years?
Yeah.
That's, to me, that's a lot. To me, personally, that's a lot. But again, what do I know? Nick has to do whatever's best for Nick, and, hopefully he's going to do that. If your question would be whether I would look into bring Nick to Apollon, of course, 100%. I'll talk to anyone as long as it's done respectfully and as long as it's done with the right approach. I'll talk and discuss things with anyone. You know, you never know where opportunity might strike, and you should always hear a person out, and then you draw conclusions.
So I wonder, though, to be honest, Robik, maybe because we're looking at it from a seasoned aspect of being supplements as long as we have, if the actual athletes that are affiliated mean as much as they did like back when we were growing up. Because I don't know if like having certain names attached to a brand is really bringing people in. Does that make sense?
You know, if I answer this question truthfully, I might cause some shit. So I'm
Okay, then
gonna
don't.
try. Yeah, I'm gonna try to be honest but respectful. In the last 5 or 6 years, we had some big names, bigger names, and whatnot.
Yep.
And we had some athletes who were maybe not as accomplished when it comes. I'm not talking about just bodybuilding. I'm talking about fighting and all that. And you know what? You'll be surprised. Sometimes a person who has less following, less accomplishments, um, less titles, maybe didn't even step on stage or didn't step in the ring, but because he's relentless, he or she is relentless and believes in the product and stands by the product and promotes the product, they will bring you more in terms of customers and reach than a person who is very well accomplished and, you know, has some titles and stuff like that. And I can assure you that it's the truth, because again, now I have experience, I can see it.
Yeah.
Back, you know, in Muscle Tech days, if you remember the Muscle Mech magazine, I mean, 70-80% of Muscle Mech magazine, you know, pages were about Muscle Tech.
Oh yeah, it had all the top 10 bodybuilders at the time.
And top 10 bodybuilders were there, and they were getting paid shitload of money.
Oh, I know.
Like ridiculous money. You know, I talked to Branch Warren about it. They were getting paid obscene amount of money, and people were buying. I mean, Hydroxycut got very, very popular, and Muscle Tech. What do they have? Cell Tech. All those products were extremely popular. Were they good? That's questionable, but they were very, very popular. There was shitload of marketing money behind it, and they pretty much, I think, at one point had Jay Cutler, Dexter Jackson, Johnny Jackson,
Chris Cormier.
They had Branch Warren.
All the Greg Kovacs. Remember the guy Greg Kovacs? There's like 390 in the off season.
Yeah. They had the top guys pretty much, and everybody was making like fucking $100,000 or $150,000 a year back then. And then they got Phil Heath, and I believe, I mean, I don't want to say it because I'm not sure, but I believe Phil Heath was on like either $500,000 or $1 million contract.
Yep.
I mean, those days are over. Those days are over 100%.
Yeah.
You have lots of brands today that don't have a top bodybuilder as an athlete, and they're doing phenomenal. Case in point, NutraBio. NutraBio have Eric Ramirez. Eric Ramirez is a good guy, a good friend of mine, but I don't think he ever won a pro show. At least I don't think so. And again, he's a good guy, and they had him for a while. I don't even think they have him as a sponsored athlete, even though he is a sponsored athlete. I think he actually works for them. He, you know, he helps out, he does trade shows, and he's very loyal to the brand. And again, case in point, loyal. He's been with them, I believe, for at least 5 or 6 years, minimum. And other than that, the only person they had was Sean Clarita. But as soon as his contract was up, Sean Clarita was gone. And NutraBio is doing phenomenal without any big bodybuilding names, and you have quite a few brands like that. So I don't think even today when I look at bodybuilders, they're not exactly getting signed left and right. Animal still signs bodybuilders to an extent. I think they're trying to revamp themselves, so they're signing athletes to an extent, not as crazy as they used to, but they still do. Rise does sign some athletes. Raw really doesn't need anyone because they have Bumstead. You know,
what more?
I mean, that guy is probably the one who moves the needle more than anyone. And then I think in Europe you have ESN. In Germany, they have most of the German guys and the European guys. But other than that, over here, I don't know anyone who really signs a lot of. Mutant has a couple of bodybuilders as well. Sean Clarita actually is there too. Yeah. But Mutant is a Canadian brand, so I don't know in terms of that. But yeah, today the market is not what it used to be, where bodybuilders are getting signed left and right, and getting the top dollar like they used to.
Maybe it's just me being the old man that, I'm intelligent enough that I look at the ingredients, the products, and then sometimes the people that are behind the brand. And I don't care who's pushing it. It's more of the back end stuff. That's just me.
Well, it's very, very watered down because you had, I don't know if it's still as strong as it used to be, but you had the whole influencers things where influencers who never competed, never fought, never done anything in terms of sports, but they have a nice physique, they have a good following on TikTok or Instagram, and companies hire them. I don't know if that market is still as hot as it used to be because, for example, the Trend Twins, right? Trend Twins were
Oh,
with,
geez.
with huge supplements. As soon as they got as big as they were and the contract was up, they left. Now they have their own brand.
Yep.
Sulik is huge, but Hostile contract is up and he's gone. So
Yeah.
it's those guys are definitely taking away from bodybuilders a lot. People are hiring them because they have 2, 3, 4, 10 million followers. And bodybuilding was not and is not a mainstream sport. And today supplements are used not just by people that want big muscles and want to be IFBB pros. Today supplements are taken by average Joe.
Yep.
Supplements are taken by people that don't want to look like bodybuilders necessarily. So that's the reason why it's so different. I think that the market has changed, and the brands that are doing well are the ones who are adapted to the current market, because we can't judge it by the days of. I mean, I'm not saying Muscle Tech is doing poorly. I think they still have what's his name? Forgot his name.
They have a couple, I guess, classic. And I don't know if they're bodybuilding, a couple of classic or physique guys.
They have a couple of guys, definitely, but it's not what it used to be like. So today it's a little bit more mainstream, and obviously brands rather go after mainstream people than just bodybuilding.
Yeah.
I remember guys saying to me, "Oh, why do you have fighters on Apollon roster? It doesn't look like a bodybuilding brand." And we got in a bit of an argument with that. I said, like, well, we don't want to be a bodybuilding brand. We want to be a brand, a brand that caters to anyone, not just bodybuilders. If bodybuilders are using it, great. But it's not only about bodybuilding. People of all walks of life, they want to get in shape, they want to get better. And today the market is a little bit bigger than it used to be before.
Yep. Robik, as you wind down, I want to give flowers to our good friend Matt Nickerson here with that great news of the energy drink that they have, or they're working in 7-Eleven with. I want to give kudos to Matt, of course, because he's a good friend of mine. I know he's a good friend of yours.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like I said, I believed in Self-Flow 6 from day one, and I still think that we are the brand who uses that ingredient more than anyone else.
Yeah, no, I agree. So I think we've covered everything. Is there anything from the Apollon brand that's coming out either this week or next week, in the next 2 weeks?
I think this week is all about Anarchy Labs, and then next week I believe Molotov is coming out. So we're definitely keeping things interesting, and I think in the next couple of weeks you'll see Joint Formula, you will see Furiosa 2, and you will see, I believe, 2 or 3 new flavors of hot rice.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Look forward to that. That's another, I think, sleeper to a point. The hot rice.
Yeah, when we released it first, people were like kind of, I'm not saying skeptical, but you had, 2 or 3 other brands that were sort of dominating. But, obviously I'm going to sound biased, but I think we have a better product.
Yep.
But it took a while, and maybe we didn't market it as well. But right now it's doing rather well. So, this is the reason for, releasing another 2 new flavors.
And I gotta guess, since I've kind of given everybody flowers, I gotta give Maria flowers, because if anybody has a Ninja Creamy, make sure you follow her on Instagram, because she's like the master chef or the master baker, I guess, with that creamy lately.
Yeah, she's been killing it. I think she actually filmed few videos that are going to be popping up on a weekly basis, and she's really, really good with it. And I pride myself on the fact that I was the guinea pig to try them, and they're phenomenal.
Yeah, so the 50/50 is like the thing to use when you have a creamy, because the casein, anything with casein is going to give a nice creamy flavor. So I'm just going to put that out there.
Yeah, and expect more 50-50 flavors coming out before the end of the year. I assure you that.
Perfect. Well, as always, my friend, it's good seeing you. It's been
Thank
too
you.
long, and we'll have another podcast soon. And good luck tomorrow. Good luck Friday.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And thank you, everyone, for their support. I expected a lot of, not a lot of, I expected some heat about Anarchy Labs like back in the day. But to be honest with you, mostly, for most part, overwhelming positive reaction. And, I want to thank you for the support that you've given us. And obviously, Shane, who's been a great friend, and he's been helping so much, and he's been so supportive, and I'm looking forward to the release and see where this is going to go. But yeah, definitely excited about it. Thank you so much, Sean.
Robik, what's the is it just anarchylabs.com, or do
Yeah,
you know
it's going to be it's going to be anarchylabs.com. Hopefully,
okay.
fingers crossed. The website is going to be live tomorrow, and you'll be able to order the products, and like I said, can't wait.
What is the product will be there for walk-ins though?
What's that?
The product will be in the store, in your store for
Yes,
walk-ins tomorrow?
yeah. Apollon Gym is going to have the products tomorrow in the store and online, anarchylabs.com. And then next week, we're going to start distributing it to retailers.
Because I'm sure our rabbi, will be the first person in line tomorrow.
Surprisingly, he actually texted me this morning that he wanted to stop by. I think he's stopping by tomorrow. And I told him, I said, well, I don't know about my schedule. I don't know if I'll be able to see you. This motherfucker says to me, I don't want to see your ugly face. I was like, what the
Carolina
fuck?
wants the product. He wants the new product. That's all.
He wants a new product. He's not interested in me. I thought we were friends, but you know what? Maybe I need to find a new rabbi.
Everybody that's watching and listening, as always, thank you so much for supporting me, the Apollon brand, the new Anarchy brand, the Body by K brand. And of course, thank you so much. And if you need anything whatsoever, reach out to either of us. Love your questions. Love to help you guys out. And as always, have a good night.
Thank you, guys. Bye.